Welcome to the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Each week we will bring you inspiring tips, stories, and ideas to help you be all that you can be, discovering your greatness. Featuring Donna. Donna is a transformational life and health coach, a highly sought-after public speaker, and the founder of Vibrant Living. She has helped hundreds find a better life, free of stress and living the greatness they were truly designed for. And now, your host, Donna.
Hello. This is Donna Tashjian, and this is podcast number 37. And today I am excited to share with you my new friend, Shandy Longcore. I am excited to have her as a guest on the podcast today. Shandy, please say hello.
Hi, Donna. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
I am so excited for your story. It is going to be, and it is such a blessing to everyone. So I want to take you back to junior high, wasn't it?
I was actually fourth grade going into fifth grade.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
so elementary
I know. We're going way back. We're going to 1991 when I was 10 years old.
And what happened?
But I think there were some undetected, or I should say likely undetected mental health issues going on with me. And add to that, I didn't feel loved, even though, of course, I was loved. So basically, I just had this storm brewing inside of me, even though on the outside you saw a jovial, smiley kid. Yeah, it was just kind of that's kind of was the backstory. And I decided I was going to check one of those things off the list, and that was not feeling pretty. And in my adolescent mind, I actually thought that if I cut my hair, that would make room for a wig, and I would go to my mom and she would buy me a wig, and that would make me pretty, just to kind of give you an idea of where I was mentally at the time. And I did exactly that. Just one lock of hair. I literally chopped off all of my hair, and because I was thinking it would create space for a wig. And I woke the next morning to discover that she left for work early that day. And incidentally, my dad was wondering where I was to perform my duties alongside him at our family-owned hardware store. So you can kind of see where the story is going. There was a lot going on inside of me, even though no one really knew it, and I wasn't very vocal about it. And my dad came home to see what I was up to and why I wasn't at the hardware store. And of course, he reacted like many parents would react, and he sees my lack of hair. And he basically was like, "What in the world did you do to your hair?" Like in a tone that lended itself to an argument. And from there, I really just think he reacted like most parents would. But that was my cry for help, that nobody heard it, and I don't expect them to, looking back. And my dad returned to work still pretty befuddled, and I was left alone to ponder my next move. And irrationally so, I decided I wanted the pain to end. And I then located the rifle in our home, and it went obviously really downhill from there. I somehow loaded it, even though I was 10 years old. And this is where I think God stepped into my life and had me make a beautiful mistake at the time. I had an anatomy lesson in the moment where I mistakenly shifted the rifle, or really, maybe it's not a mistake. I think it was now looking back what was supposed to happen. I shifted that rifle from the left of my chest to the right of my chest. And again, without thinking, without writing a note, and just being really irrational in the moment, I shot it. Yeah, it was a lot. It was.
Oh my.
Right. And it is so sad. And I never want anyone to accuse me of glorifying that story, because what happened next it was not good. It was a lot of pain, and that's a lot of trauma, not only on my own body and emotions and my own soul, but my family and friends. Like, I think back to what I caused, and inflicted such pain on them. It was awful. But so expecting not to be here, now I'm laying on the ground, realizing I am here. And this is something I speak about now, is that I was groveling for my life. And I think that is one of the takeaways, and why I'm still alive, is that I want people to know that people who attempt to take their lives, they typically don't want to die. They want the pain to end. And that was the case for me as well. And then I was groveling for my life. So it was a millisecond that I went from wanting to die, AKA wanting the pain to end, to wanting to live. Like, I wanted to live. And I've talked with people who have jumped from bridges and have had a similar change in heart in a millisecond. So obviously I'm still here. So the story ends in a good way. I was very blessed to have my mom come home from work early that day. That was another God moment and miracle for me. And she's a nurse. And so she acted in a way of a nurse, and not how a mom would react in terms of being in complete freak out mode. And
Right.
Yeah. And then from there, chaos happened, and I was treated with amazing medical professionals, both in my original hometown, which was Kalkaska, Michigan. So it was my mom's team and staff and coworkers working on me and preparing me for AeroMed to go to Traverse City, to a larger hospital where they performed life-saving surgery on me. And I guess it was really touch and go at the time. And I think there was a lot of confusion at the time of whether it was an accident or if this was on purpose. And yeah, I'm super blessed to be here, and I praise God every day for it. And then fast forward some 28 years, we talked about it, but we didn't talk about it, if that makes any sense. Like, if you were close to us, you knew what really happened that day, or if you were in our church, you knew the truth. But even the headlines was child accidentally shot. So it was definitely a headline we didn't mind kind of hiding behind, because it was too intense, and it was just too taboo that this could actually happen. And fast forward to today, I'm here, and I was called out. I was, in a beautiful way, given a moment of clarity to start sharing my story, which is why I'm happy to be here with you today.
Yes. And what is the name of your business or ministry? I'm not sure what you call it.
Yeah, so it's called Embracing Imperfections, and you can actually look right at my website, which is embracingimperfections.org. And I call it basically my speaking initiative, and it'll eventually be a nonprofit.
Great. What?
Yeah, that was a lot, wasn't that?
Yeah, that was a lot. I'm like, okay.
Deep breath.
Yes, deep breath. So you're married today, or tell us about your
Yeah, so
today.
fast forward, I, high school and college went well for me. I really believe and love the semicolon movement. And if folks are not familiar, it's that things happen in our lives for sure, but the author can choose to continue the sentence instead of using a period, using a semicolon, that your life can continue and you can continue to write it. And I think my life is a great example of that, because I moved on to be, and have a great high school and college career, athletically and academically and socially, and playing college sports. And I used to not share this because I was, just didn't want to be boastful about it, but I was challenged that people do need to hear that, your life can move on to things. So like college sports, or I was homecoming queen and things like that if someone is suffering, it's really hard for them to see the future, and that the semicolon can be used. So I do share that my life has been great, not always perfect, but I have a great life. And I met my husband my senior year in college, and we eventually married, and we have twin boys that are now 9 years old, and feeling super blessed to be living this life with them.
That is awesome. Going from such a tragedy,
Right.
tragic event to homecoming queen, that's a big change.
Yeah.
What happened that you must have felt pretty. So what happened in you to shift that?
In that time frame, so we're talking from basically the start of 5th grade to my senior year in high school. What happened, and I think the best way to summarize it is the power of one. And that too is a topic that I love to speak on, and I love to challenge folks in basically, don't forget the power that you have. We all were given this life. There absolutely is a purpose to it, even if you can't see it, right? And I realized that even at 10 years old, that my life counted, darn it. Like, God gave this to me, and this is a gift. And what I'm going to do with that, I started to slowly figure that out. I lived life through a lens of gratitude, and the whole I get to versus I have to. And I just started to transform and had this beautiful lens in which I lived life through. And I think it was a combination of my relationship with God, and talk about the power of one, right? Mm-hmm. But also, I had teachers invest in me, my 4th and 5th grade teacher, Ms. Blue and Ms. Dalton, and then now Wildfong. And then I had coaches take me under their wing, Coach Dalton and Coach Henderson. They realized, that I could stand to benefit from not only the exercise that comes from being on a sports team, but really the camaraderie and the team goals and being there for someone else and going after things. And, I had my pastor and his amazing wife, the Rileys. They invested in me and became that much closer to me. And their daughter was is my best friend. So I had this community of people, including my parents, that realized she needs to be loved in kind of maybe a little different way, and we need to approach her in a different love language. And they all did that, and it was beautiful. And I guess I treated everyone in a way that I knew that I needed, when I was younger, and trying to make everyone feel special and that kind of thing. And I think that lended itself to just having a lot of fun in high school. But it wasn't until after college and well into my career in the fitness industry. So I was super blessed to be, looking back, I think it was even kind of crazy of them. I landed a big deal career at just 25 years old, running one of the local premier fitness facilities in the Grand Rapids area. And I'm talking, a team of people, meaning like a team of 100 people that were under my wing, and eventually 8,000 members. So it was, I think they saw that I get to attitude and the gratitude lens. And so, but yeah, it wasn't until only a few years ago that I was called out in terms of, another purpose that I have in this life is to share my story, because we absolutely hit it, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful thing. And I think that's how we arrived to you and I talking today, is I'm willing to go and talk to anyone about mental health and about the idea that we have to stop hiding it, because I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with the statistics, but we are killing. There are more suicides than homicides now. And it's the second leading cause of death for young people. That has to stop. The word suicide, everyone's so scared of it, yet it's happening all the time. So I really want to encourage people to be the power of one for someone else, like I received, but also to just realize you do matter. And if you're struggling, there are resources to get help, whether it's locally for sure, in different nonprofits like I Understand and ENI's program, right? But also, if you find yourself in a moment of crisis, you can call a 1-800 number to receive help. It's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, or you can even text the 741-741 text number to have a licensed counselor on the other end. And I don't think everyone knows that we have resources. And I think that's a big part of my job too, is to be, an advocate for that and for people just talking in general, let alone reaching out to other people.
I knew suicide was on the rise, but I don't even think I was aware that there's more suicides than murders. That's so sad and incredible.
Right. And look at all we do to prevent murder,
I know.
Yeah, like we've got a long ways to go in the mental health world. We've come so far, and when I say the mental health, us as a society accepting, honoring, and recognizing that this needs attention, and it needs attention now for sure.
Yes, it does. When I look at your story and pick out pivotal moments, it's one of them. It was the realization that you wanted to live after you had hurt yourself. You'd shot yourself. And there was something very transformational in that moment that, no, I want to live even if it hurts. And then as your community surrounded you, which is incredible and wonderful, but I have seen people be surrounded by people and they still don't choose to live a life of gratitude.
Yep.
They don't choose to live. They stay focused on the pain or what's missing as opposed to what they can be thankful for, because there's women and people listening who have lost people to suicide who did try to be the powerful one. And it didn't work. And their loved one still died. And so there is a both component. The people listening who have thought about killing themselves need to choose to live. That this isn't their final chapter, like you said about the period. Put a semicolon. I like to say this was a chapter of your life, not your whole book.
Right. Amen to that.
That this doesn't have to be forever, that you can choose something different. And so there's the component that's both sides of those equations are necessary. We need to surround people and be aware. But the people that are sad need to choose to live and find the help.
And I think... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So here's my take on that. And I know I feel for those listening that have someone that's close to them that is exactly in that situation, that they still might not want to live, or they lost their hope. And they might not, it's hard to understand that, right? And one of the things that hit home for me when I first saw it, and I believe it's hitting home for those that see it when I present. If you look at a scan of a brain of someone that is depressed, say for example, next to someone that is not, you will absolutely see a different scan.
Correct.
It's a different chemical makeup. And it for those that don't think that it's a physical thing, I like for them to see that scan, because right then and there, I think that's honoring that, wow, okay, so this person might not be dealing with a broken arm, but they are absolutely dealing with something that's imbalanced. And
Correct.
They absolutely need professional services to help them with that. Now, it's going to be a process for sure, but we have come so far with science and the mental health world in general, in terms of like the capacity of our counselors, therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists. It's amazing what can happen through talk therapy, and it's amazing what can happen if and or when medication is needed. And I know people that are clinically depressed that have refused medication for years, and when they finally get over that hump of just being willing to try it, because of the chemical imbalance. It's been amazing what can happen. Now, obviously, there's more to the story, right? In terms of what helps us mentally, being in nature and using what God gives us at our resources in terms of talking and being, reaching out. Humans need humans. And I think we forget that, and we continue to put ourselves on an island, and we need nature and all sorts of stuff. But I wanted to take a moment because I think it's on the heels of what you're talking about, of trying to understand, like, why is this person not grateful that they're here? And why is this? And I think we need to take a step back and realize, well, amen, that I'm not that person, right? and then, but helping that person get, what is another step? What is something else that we can try? Because you're right, it isn't a snap of fingers. And guess what? They can't just get over it the next day,
Right.
And that's a big deal of lowering that stigma for sure.
One of the things I notice in your story that could have changed the chemical things that were going on in your sadness and depression is physical movement. Absolutely. And being involved in all of those sports, you had the camaraderie of people, but you had the movement as well. And just getting up and moving can help change our body. It changes the chemical makeup.
The serotonin levels. And I think that's how and why I landed in the fitness career for so long. Yeah. And it was a beautiful, I love that world. And I go to a gym about 5-6 days a week because it is what fuels my serotonin levels.
Right.
I've been blessed to not deal with major depression as an adult. But I can tell you what kind of day I'm going to have or not have, whether I get a workout in or not, just because, and I know it sounds crazy, but after you work out, you tend to have more energy, and it absolutely is a big deal. So you're spot on when you're looking at my life and something that has helped me, and it's great, and it doesn't have to be a gym membership. It could be a daily walk,
Right. Just something. The same thing they talk about when people are elderly and they don't have the job anymore, just getting up and doing some type of physical activity. My father-in-law was bowling at 80 and 90 years old. And he joined the team and he bowled every week. Yeah. And it was just doing something with people. Yep. And it keeps us going and keeps us focused, because I think social media is a wonderful thing, but it's a horrible thing too, because we pick up our social media instead of looking each other in the eye.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad you brought that up, because when I said earlier, humans need humans.
Yes, humans need humans.
Yeah. And you know what? And I think we as a society, and with our technology and our jobs becoming so much more home-based and things like that, it's a little bit scary, and I feel that we need to be careful and remember, and some people might not know this, that when a baby is born, if we give it just food and change its diaper, it will eventually receive the term failure to thrive, and it will pass away. Babies, humans absolutely need human connection and touch, love. And I think that that's a foundational thing that we forget. And social media, our world, tends to put us on an island, especially when something's going wrong that people might judge us for, like mental health illness or something, that is not readily, talked about. So that's really a goal of mine through my public speaking initiative, is just to say, we need people, and we absolutely have to talk. Yes. And so whether you're retired or you're a teenager or you're a home parent, you need people, and start reaching out. And guess what? They need you as well. So I love that bowling league is a prime example. I don't care if you're volunteering or running or bowling, but get out there and put yourself out there and be willing to work with someone else. It's amazing.
Oh, awesome. Well, we've gotten to the end of our time. It's gone too quickly, because I love talking with you about this. And hopefully we've been able to touch someone's heart and give you some encouragement. Shandy, again, how do they reach out to you if they want to get more information, more resources?
Absolutely. So my email address is Shandy, which is SHANDY, at embracingimperfections.org. And that's my website as well, embracingimperfections.org. That's the easy way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. That sounds great. Any closing wisdom, suggestions, or books that you would recommend to anyone listening?
Yeah, I like to share with people what would have helped me as a kiddo. I get that. And I'll share that to those of you that are navigating difficult times. I feel that I'm here to share with you that you are pretty or handsome, even if you don't see it. You are loved, even if you don't feel it. And you absolutely were given purpose. You are meant to be here, even if you can't grasp the details as to why. And I want to encourage people to fight to figure that out. I promise it'll be worth the struggle. And then along those lines, something that's helped me over the years is Mel Gibbons' 5-second theory. You could easily Google it and look it up, but it's basically the idea that we can naturally be lazy instead of ready to go every day. And so counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and doing what you know you need to do by the time you get to 1 or starting whatever that is, it's a great way to just say, okay, here I go. So whether it's getting out of bed or going after your goals or just going to the gym, doing that 5-second theory has been helpful to in my life. And it's just been a beautiful thing. It helps me realize that I can do whatever I want to do. It's really up to me.
Awesome. Oh, Shandy, thank you so much for sharing your powerful story. You're truly an encouragement and a testament of what can happen when we make different choices and we take a risk to have somebody tell us that we are pretty, we have a purpose, and we are deeply loved. Shandy's story was just amazing. And her story and others like that is why I created the program I call Choose Joy. You can find it on my website, iVibrantLiving.com/Choose Joy. This program is specifically designed to kick anxiety and depression to the curb. It is to help us to choose joy and give us the tools to be able to do that. Check it out today. I would love to hear from you if I can be of any support or help at all, because you are loved and you are amazing and you were designed for greatness. Until next time, this is Donna saying live and love vibrantly.
Thank you for joining us on this powerful episode of the You Were Designed for Greatness podcast. Please share this with others who might enjoy it. For more info on Donna Tashjian or to contact her, visit iVibrantLiving.com.